many times we get misconceptions of where you are half, that you are a half who is joining another half, and now the two of you become one. I want to believe that you are a whole who is complete, who is coming to complement another whole person. And it's not the other way around where you are two halves that have been joined together to come and make one. And that's one thing that many people, by the time they get into marriage, if they have not yet sorted the part of I am enough and I'm okay, because if you look at even the Bible's example, where was Adam? Adam was busy. He was sorting his stuff out. He was okay. It was God who looked and said, this guy does not look okay. And I want to believe as well that Eve was an independent and as well a whole and okay person by the time Adam was introduced. And so it is two people that are already grown in their own person that are now joining to become a better person. And that is where in Ecclesiastes, we learn that two are better than one, because they will bring a better return to their work, and also they will keep warm. So when it comes to the part of growth, yes, the part of obedience and honor, that one for sure. The Bible is very clear in Ephesians that children, obey your parents, for this is right. I am not disputing the fact. But then when you also read the Bible, there's a part that David says that when I was a child, I behaved like a child, I reasoned like a child, but when I became a man, I put aside childish things. So I want to believe that the part of obedience, and I've seen couples that even as we are walking the journey, you will see somebody who is saying, my dad told me not to marry this girl, and so I'm leaving her because I don't want to disobey. At that moment in time, it is what you are called to do is to honor. That is the point of honor, where you are actually supposed to be man enough to approach dad and engage, have a conversation, and you know what is right and what is wrong, and respectfully allow that conversation to go to the point where dad should see your point of view and allow you to be that person who will still honor them, but not obey. Because I can imagine if I was to listen to my parents and act on obedience. And I remember asking these questions to my dad, because as much as I mentioned that dad and mom had separated, they come together. And at this moment in time, they are so much in agreement that I should leave Carol. So I asked dad, just the same way the pastor would ask, what reason is it that you have against Carol? So I was ready for them. Because dad told me, is there anyone who does not love you here? I said, no, you guys are my family and I know you love me to bits. So dad said, yes, we have discussed and we are saying you should leave this girl. So I asked him, okay, fine. May I know the reason why I should leave Carol? And interestingly, there was no reason. So they just told me it's because we love you and we are thinking you should leave. And I want to just help those of our listeners and those in this forum to understand that God comes in mysterious ways. I remember that is one point I was at my lowest when I've been told I cannot marry the lady or the girl I have loved, the girl of my dreams. And then I went and saw my pastor. And this was even before, because I was living in Mombasa, and I went to see my pastor and I told him what happened. And he opened the Bible and he told me, for the reason of marriage, in Genesis, I believe it's Genesis 2:27 there. It says, for this reason, a man shall leave his father and mother and cleave or be joined to his wife. So the issue was, it was you who is supposed to leave. It was Genesis 2:24 that a man should leave his father and mother. But now in our African culture, unfortunately, the person who leaves physically, or the person who is normally given the bed and given gifts that are showing that they have already been told to go, is normally who? Is the wife. So I realized, and I remember being called when I came now to go and plead with Carol's mom to allow me to still marry this girl. I remember her telling me, that we have been summoned to go see Bishop. And we went and saw Bishop. And Bishop just took me through a small interview and asked me, okay, fine. Sorry. He wanted me to at least just introduce my family to him. And when I mentioned about my family and I said, look, my dad and mom are separated. My mom is in my house. My brother and my sisters, I'm supporting them. They are also in my house. I've hired one of my brothers and I also supported my sisters. So he asked me, okay, fine. So you want to get married and you're already married. I said, to who? He told me your mother is your father's wife and your siblings are your father's children. So you are already running a home and you now want to get married. You will definitely find resistance. And that was my eureka moment. I actually realized, by the way, no wonder they are putting up a fight, because what it is that they were seeing from me was a dart. And so they were trying to defend their territory. So I want to also just make it clear to those who are listening that when it comes to the issue of marriage, once you have identified your spouse, God's command for you to be able to cleave, you have to be able to live. And that living means you have to be cut out. You have to be separated. And many times there will be a shedding of blood. In my case, it was a bloody affair. So we had to heal. And like Carol has mentioned, I had to always drag her. If I got a phone call from mom, she wants me to go see her, I would tell her, oh yeah, let's go together. She wouldn't want to go and she wouldn't want to be there, but I would make sure I go with her. And even when we had to leave, if I'm to give any money to my mom or any gift, it was Carol who was to pass it on. And slowly she realized that this man has actually committed his life to this girl and he allowed me to be. So it was not easy, but it was a process. So the healing process took time. We are still in it, but it has been one journey that is very interesting, seeing God just mold us and make us more like him. So about handling delay, I will tell Carol to continue that.
Yeah, maybe I can also talk about the reconciliation and the healing process. I also really thank God for having a very prayerful mother, my own mom. For me, I was putting myself in her shoe and I'm thinking, I would tell my daughter, don't you even dare. Kwani who do they think? Yes, I mean, I'm a woman. And we women, we get emotional and you want to take things in your hands. And I remember my mom kept on telling me, now you know you're married, uko ndio kwenu. And every time she tells me that, it would break my heart. Uko ni kwetu na walinikata. But anyway, she kept on like just speaking life, that those are your people, you need to love them. You need to accept them. When you go there, just be a good one. Not that I was a bad one, but just to kunyenyekea. And I remember the most difficult part is when now I conceived. And then, because Hari is Kikuyu, and the way Kikuyus name their children, sorry to say this for the Kikuyus who are here, you name your children the names of your parents exactly the way they are. And this I saw even before I conceived. In his family, there are like 5 Harrison Mungais. So you have to say, Harrison Mungai Waluse, Harrison Mungai Wajak, Harrison Mungai, yani, they're same names. So I never liked that. I was like, I want to identify my child with their own name, the name God will give me. So now I've conceived and my mom calls us home and she's like, okay, now I want to talk to you guys. And have you gotten a name for your child? And I'm thinking, it doesn't concern you, mommy. I mean, ni mtoto wangu anakuja. So the name, you'll know the day the baby will be born. And of course, my mom knew that I'm getting a baby girl. So of course, in the Kikuyu traditions, you call the name of your mother's-in-law, you give that name to your child as it is. So if it's Karo Mungai, or let's not say Karo Mungai, Karo Gaki, she'll be called Karo Gaki. And so for me, if there's something I struggled is to give my daughter my mother's in-law name. And I told my mom, I can never and I will not. So that was very hard. But what I liked, the counsel that my mom gave me, and this is also helping me as a parent now, how important it is to give our children the right guidance, the right principles, whether somebody has wronged you or not. She kept on standing with the word of God. You have to forgive, you have to let go, you cannot pay evil with evil. And she kept on telling us, as much as those parents rejected you, they are still your parents, and your blessings are with them. So we really struggled with that. And well, I didn't call my daughter the exact names, but in her birth certificate, there's that Kikuyu name there, which...
But it's a name.
Yeah, it's her name, which for me at that moment in time, I was not identifying with it. So that also, I must say that my mom really helped me in the healing process, which I thought should now be against it, like telling me not to act well as a daughter-in-law. But you see, for her, she knows if I don't relate well, it's me who will have a problem. So that part of healing process really helped. And of course, visiting, and until now, people started getting used to me. And in the process also, I learned to forgive, because I didn't know how to forgive. Now I know what it is to forgive. It's actually for me, not for the other person. Yeah, about we got a lot of ridicule from family and from church. In fact, from church was worse. Church was worse. Church can break you. And if there's a point where we kept on being asked, and I mean, I've grown in DCU Moja, so ever since Sunday school days. So I'm a child of DC. Mr. Kigume is my father here. So we had a lot of people really asking questions. And I'll remember one that stood out that really broke my heart. One of the ladies who is my mom's friend, she came and asked me, you've decided you don't want to get babies, or ni kazi umeshindwa. First she asked me, umeshindwa na kazi, ama ni figure una keep. And I was like, where is this one going? And I'm thinking, you're like my mom, you should actually ask me, how can I pray with you? So she said, I can be a surrogate mom. Oh my goodness, that killed me. And I'm like, seriously? This is what you'd want for me? So that really broke my heart. And of course, so many people asking, mnangoja nini, mpaka lini? So as Dagi was saying, this is a place where if you see a couple, they don't have a child, don't ever ask. Don't ask them, pray for them. So as we were ridiculed, even his family, we would go for functions and I would be grilled there by other women, and there's nothing much I would have said. I just told them, we are waiting on God, because really, if we had a choice, we would have gotten that child the first year of our marriage. So yes, we were ridiculed, we were humiliated, and the unfortunate bit is the body of Christ is the one that really condemns and hurt people. So may the Lord help us.
Thank you so much for that. So encouraging. I just want us probably to see how to bring this down. Someone is writing to me that I want to work with next week anyway. So just a quick one. Maybe I'll allow maybe anyone from the Zoom, if you have any question or any word of encouragement to the Mungai. You've been handling premarital class, and I'm a candidate of your class for some times. Probably I've learned a lot from you, both in class and even outside class, especially Harry, to interact mara mingi in terms of your leadership. Just in terms of you handling young couples or young people who want to get married. What are those few mistakes you observe from them that probably you feel need to be addressed, and probably are the major causes of a few breakups? Because most people are getting married, but they break out within 5 years of the marriage. And as a person who handles young people, what do you think are some of the mistakes you will notice from these guys who are getting married that we need to really work on and maybe prevent further divorce cases or separation in future? That is from you, Caro, and Harry, and then probably I'll give Mr. Kigume to maybe give us this thought on the same. Thank you.